Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. Concord Early Access Beta didn't go as well as everyone was hoping for, at least not as well as PlayStation was hoping for. At least, well, that's the news that everybody wants to think, or wants to lead you to believe. Now, I have a different opinion, but let's get into it. I talked about this on my live stream on Sunday nights, but I'd like to do a nice little dedicated video for anyone to essentially put it on record, and you know what? Call me out on it if I'm astronomically wrong, which I could be. But to sit here and celebrate the early access beta that had limitations to the number of players that could play, that could download the game and play it. First of all, you had to actually buy the game, in which case you had 4 access keys that you could give away, or you had to be part of the PlayStation Network account, PlayStation Plus, which I was, and I couldn't even play the game. Oh my God, the characters just look dumb. But let's get on to the article, because I think John F. Trent brings it up. He brings up the limitations of it. But to say to not acknowledge, if you're going to talk about this, you must acknowledge the limitations of the early access beta, instead of saying, ha ha, it's a failure. Now, will this game be a failure? Yes, absolutely, it will be. And when the open beta starts, it may have started today. Let's get into the article. Concord Early Access Beta draws less than 1,200 concurrent players on Steam. And this is on Steam. Firewalk Studios' upcoming Steam shooter, Concord, releasing way too late in the genre cycle, is not drawing in many players during its early access beta. Again, shocker. There are limitations to... Anyway, Firewalk Communications Manager Alice Labreck announced the early access beta in a blog post on PlayStation's website. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a moment. Ma, me, mo, moo, me, mo, ma. Do a little exercise. I should probably do this before I start talking and trying to read, or at least, update the prescription of my glasses. My goodness, it's only been about 12 years. But anyway, earlier this week, noting it would run from July 12th through July 14th. After the early access beta concludes, it will have an open beta from July 18th to the 21st. So that will be in 2 days. Today, as the time of this recording, is July 16th. So starting Thursday, more than likely midnight Central, or actually probably 11 Central. I think that's usually how it goes. Whenever games release at a certain date, for me, personally, they're usually at 11 Central the day before. And if I like the game enough, I usually take a nap before that and play it for 2 or 3 hours. Yes, I've done that before. But anyway, Labreck detailed, so this Thursday night, or early Friday morning at midnight, depending on where you are, but I would go with 11 p.m. Central. That's my guess, is when the open beta. This open beta, I think, will be far more important. It will give a much larger gauge on the relative interest of this shooter. Now, it could also be smoke and mirrors, because if it's free, why not check out a free game? Who's not going to check out a free game? Unless, of course, you really got some... I couldn't even care less about the pronouns. They're stupid. Nobody cares about that. Gamers do not care about the pronouns. They don't care about the lives of the people that they're playing in a 5v5 arena shooter competitive game. I'm sorry. The vast majority of players, we don't care. They care about the mechanics, the gameplay loop. They want to know, is the game fun? We're definitely going to find out. Going to get more and more people this weekend. The best detail, the Concord Beta Early Access weekend on PS5 and PC will begin tomorrow. Well, that was a few days ago. Didn't go so well. 10 a.m. Pacific? No, it may be early that day if it follows the same thing. In order to participate, now here's the important part. In order to participate in the early access beta, one needs to pre-order the game. Why on God's green earth would you do that? Or receive a code from someone who pre-ordered it. If you received a code from someone who pre-ordered it, they are not your friend. They don't like you. They want to torture you and torment you with these even the colors of the costumes. It's too much for me. Now, to be fair, it's not my kind of game. I will be upfront and honest with you. It's not my kind of game. I'm not a team shooter kind of guy. I'm too old for that crap. But, you know, to each their own. And the colors, the colors are too much. Too much going on the screen. And I play Rocket League, so go figure. As far as colors go, oof. Lebrec relayed, pre-ordering an edition of Concord will grant you access to the beta early access weekend. I did download it. I looked at the characters and I noped out. I couldn't. They did not look, there was nothing appealing about a single solitary character. That's another thing that you have to use to draw players into a game, regardless of what game it is. It doesn't have to be realistic. You don't need the uber, super, hyper-realistic graphics. Those aren't necessary. They're too much. You just need an aesthetically pleasing theme. Okay? A good theme. World of Warcraft, and again, I'm saying the same stuff, but I feel the same way. All the same things. I don't do scripts. I speak from my brain, which is not always, you know, it's not always connected. But here we go. World of Warcraft was not a realistic looking game, but it had an aesthetically pleasing theme. Fortnite, regardless of you like it or not, has an aesthetically pleasing theme. It is a very popular game. All these games, hell, Five Nights at Freddy's has an aesthetically pleasing enough theme when it's not scaring the total crap out of you. But these games, popular games, don't have to be hyper realistic. They just need to be fun. Focus on the fun first instead of all the other nonsensical bells and whistles. Let's see, as well as 4 codes. So if you pre-order the game, as well as 4 codes you can share with your friends and your enemies, so you can squad up with your own crew and take on rival crews together. I am genuinely curious. I'm going to be keeping an eye on these numbers this coming weekend. And yeah, it'll be a decent enough metric to see how the game's going to go once it goes live. Who knows? Maybe they could do some improvements. On top of this, the game was open to PlayStation Plus members as well. I tried. I couldn't. I didn't like the look of it. Wasn't interested enough, not even to check it out to get some gameplay footage for my channel. That's bad. The game was also giving away codes on social media, Steam, and Epic Games. Unfortunately, well, when this was taken, this screenshot was taken over the weekend, the game does not seem to be garnering a significant player base, at least on Steam. That's because it was only an early access open beta. Okay? People are waiting, hopefully, as far as pre-ordering this game. And of course, these numbers do not show you how many people were playing on PlayStation. It would be nice if we could find those numbers. That would be fantastic, because you would have to add them to the 1124 as far as all peak time. Spiked up with, let's see, users 584. It would have been interesting. I should have kept an eye on it Sunday earlier during the day, but, you know, I didn't. Oh, well. In fact, gamers who played the early access beta did not seem to be impressed. There were I did see some people going around on X talking positively on the game, saying that it was fun, the controls were good. I saw the exact opposite. So there's mixed reviews at best. Endymion put his thoughts on X. Overall, not impressed at all. Not sure what Sony is going for here with this, and genuinely concerned if this game will do well or flop. It's going to flop. It's got a $50 price tag. That alone, that by itself, is going to cause this game to flop. You have too many other games out there. Overwatch 2 is still a thing, and it's free. Free? You cannot compete with free. Unless you bring something astronomically new to the table. And I don't think Concord's going to do that. People are going to be turned away with the pronouns and all this other stuff. But again, people who actually play games, the vast majority, I say the majority, are going to go, okay, pronouns, how does it play? That's it. How does the game play? What are the supers? What are the specials? What are the movesets? What are the abilities of the characters? Nothing else is going to matter. Oh, look, pronouns. Ha, 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 ha. Undecided. One of the characters is undecided. Okay, sure. I think one of the characters looks like they were wearing Crocs. Space Crocs. So the design of the characters is silly. Overdone tones and just silly designs. And if it matters to you, none of the she-hers have any sort of dimensions. If you know what I mean. None. I'm sorry. They look like, well, you get the picture. That's That is an aesthetically pleasing part that male gamers and female gamers do enjoy. Whether you like it or not, it is a draw. They like to look the sexy part. It is a hyper fantasy. That's what it is. It's a power fantasy for men and for women to play the big buff dudes, the big old tanks with the muscles and everything. And they do have that in the game. The big burly male characters, the he-hims. Unfortunately, the she-hers look like planks of wood. And nobody's going to want to play them. I'm sorry. They don't, because they're not aesthetically pleasing. Aesthetics is very important in game. Style is very important in game. If you don't like what you're looking at while you're playing, because it's an arena shooter, a 5v5 team battle, you're going to be staring at the screen a lot. And if you don't like what you're looking at, you're going to quit. You're going to go find something else. Rule 34 is not going to do anything with this game. Well, I don't even want to think about it. I've seen some of the characters. Overall, not impressed. Okay, he added, in my opinion, if they want any chance of survival in today's market, 5 years too late, at least 5 years too late, this has to be free to play at launch. I agree. At best, maybe $10, $20. $50? No. $50 for what feels like a side mode in a more complete game is asking too much. 100% agree with Endymion on this one. Let's see. YouTuber Dreamcast Guy could not give a rat's. Anyway, after the game was revealed, Dreamcast Guy, oh, flip-flop. His shoe of choice is a flip-flop. If you know, you know. After the game was revealed during PlayStation's State of Play presentation in May, it received significant backlash for its character designs because they were hideous. And embrace, here comes John F. Trent for you, embrace of transgender ideology with the inclusion of pronouns for each character. Sure, okay. Firewalk Studios director of IP, Kim Cranes, we'll go with Cranes, also stated at the time, every character brings their own unique personality that no one is going to care about. Skills and wide-ranging perspectives that no one is going to care about. To the crew. The only thing that matters in this entire sentence right there is the skills. That's it. Oh, they have unique personalities. Nobody's going to be paying attention to the personalities as you're running across from one end of the map to the other, screaming at your teammate because they failed to tank properly, or they didn't call out someone coming around the corner and you get killed. Okay? Their perspectives. I couldn't care less what the ones and zeros on my screen think as far as arena shooters go. You want to bring that sort of nonsense into a role-playing game? I want to know what Geralt of Rivia thinks. Sure. What about V in Cyberpunk? Yes, absolutely. I'd like to see what kind of character that is, even though I'm the one playing it and I mold their perspective and their personality to myself. But these in-game characters, your avatar in a single-player or RPG, MMO, whatever, where you play a role, an actual role in the role-playing game. Those things are important. In an arena shooter, they don't matter. Unless you're playing on a role-playing server, in which case, that's not going to happen in a 5v5 arena team battle. Anyway, she also detailed every week when you log into Concord. This is fun. I did read this, but it's just, thinking about it again just hurts. I don't know. What were you thinking? What were they thinking when they did this? Every week when you log into Concord, you will be welcomed with a new cinematic vignette that every other player will skip. What's the skip button? That's it. That will give you a chance to see our characters off the job. Does that affect any part of the actual gameplay? If the answer is no, it's going to be skipped. That's it. Someone will record them all, pop them up on social media, and that'll be done. If I want to watch it, I'll go to YouTube. That's it. Get me to the game. The only cutscene, the only intro scene that I've probably skipped, even after 1,000 hours in Cyberpunk, I think I've skipped the intro to Cyberpunk 2077 5 times. Anytime I load up the game, I let it play out because it has its own personality. I absolutely love it because Pacifica is still Pacifica. Do that and maybe people will be interested, but Cyberpunk is not Concord. Concord is not a role-playing game. What were you thinking? Who? Now, this is a genuine question, and I'm not talking about the pronouns bullshit. I'm talking about who is that going to be for? The Rule 34 Tumblr folks that want fan fiction and different kinds of artwork so they can see what orifice their character takes it up the wrong end, maybe? I've been listening to British humor. Anyway. They will feature ongoing narrative arcs, again, that nobody gonna care about, that grow the character's stories. Do those stories have an effect on the gameplay? If the answer is no, you're going down the wrong route. Now, don't get me wrong, there will be people out there that these backstories matter, the stories matter, the vignettes matter. Of course, there's always people out there, players, well, they might be players, that this information matters. Keeping up with the lore. You always have that. There might even be channels, if the game isn't DOA, channels dedicated to the ongoing story. But, as I'm saying, the general player, majority, I'm going to go with majority, of people that will be playing this game, this information isn't going to matter. You're focusing on the wrong thing. You're putting work and effort into these cinematic vignettes, character stories, when you should be putting work and effort into coming up with something flashy and new and interesting and something to do with the gameplay. Redirect those resources from the background, superficial nonsense, and shift them over to the gameplay and see what they can do. That is how you get new players to stick around and stay in a game. You have to bring something new to the table, and I don't see Concord doing that. It's hard not to imagine that the game won't be pushing all kinds of disorders. Oh, here's more John F. Trent. Disorders and degenerate lifestyle through these cinematic vignettes. No, John, that will be the Tumblr folks and the Reddit folks and the 4chan folks who are going to be going Rule 34 with each and every single one of these characters. It won't have to be the vignettes. They'll have to tone it down. But you'll go ahead and believe whatever you want to believe, John. Given it already lists their pronouns. You're putting way more emphasis on the idea that these characters have pronouns than you probably should. It's almost like an obsession, John. Are you okay? I'm picking. A rumor from Mark Kern, aka Grums, would surface following the backlash, indicating that Firewalk Studios and its executives were shrugging off the feedback. Okay, sure. Why not? I mean, you got the feedback. We don't like the pronouns. Okay, so it's in the game. Move on. Let the game speak for itself. Mark Kern, he posted on X, PlayStation-owned studio Firewalk Studios has heard your complaints about Concord and ignored them. Okay. Explain to me why that's wrong. Take it out of context. You want to take it the wrong way and have your feelings hurt? That's fine. But you voice your opinion. The companies don't have to listen to us. So what you do is you vote with your wallet. That's it. Don't buy the game. Well, of course, a lot of people aren't going to be buying the game. He added, sources tell me internal emails show the Concord team is shrugging off the criticisms, which might be a good idea. The characters as white noise and dismissing it, very much in their own bubble. Not necessarily, Grums. I will disagree with you on that. Sure, they're dismissing it. They're shrugging off the criticism as white noise because what we're criticizing is the superficial nonsense of the game. Okay, but fair enough. That's what we criticize when we see a trailer. The trailer is supposed to have the bells and have the whistles, have the superficial nonsense and show you a little bit of gameplay to get you interested in the game. So that's what we're going to criticize. But if you're the only thing we're going to criticize, more than likely what they're shrugging off is, and what they're calling white noise is, oh my God, the characters have pronouns. Okay, does that affect gameplay? You can have that opinion. That's fine. That's you. It's not a problem with that. The main concern should be the cost, the monetization, and the gameplay. And the characters look hideous. So go from there. All that extra crap is superficial, nonsensical bells and whistles. Not necessarily. They want the game to speak for itself. You have to commend Firewalk Studios for at least one thing. They made something new. Maybe not something in a new genre, But they made a new IP. They made new characters, a new story, a new idea to put it into an existing video game genre, and they're going to try to let the work speak for itself. A lot of people are going to give it a shot. It could be DOA just based on the look of the characters, and pronouns undecided. Pronouns undecided. I can't get over that. Sure, okay. To each their own. But they at least get that benefit. They did something new instead of taking an ongoing, decades-old, beloved character and changing them to suit their needs. So if nothing else, sure, they may have had to brush off the criticisms as white noise because they wanted the game to speak for itself. Let that happen. He then pointed out, meanwhile, their trailer has over 54,000 dislikes. Oopsie doopsie. And their lead character designer bashed white folks and is rumored to be one who pushed for the character lineup to be super woke. Okay. They are in for a rude surprise. That is quite possible. What also may hurt the game is this right here. Sony will be forcing PC players to register for PSN with this game. If that's the case, this right here, and barring it from sale in 177 countries, if this is true right here, this game is 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt DOA. Period. This is going to destroy the game. It did a number on the interest of Helldivers 2. Sure, Sony walked back their decision on it, but the damage was already done. This, right from the beginning, I think will have more of an effect. Having to register for a PlayStation Network account on PC will have more of a detrimental effect than any single pronoun or any single look of a character in this game. A soy boy Dora the Explorer. That's all I see when I look at this character. Gender swapped Dora the Explorer, or maybe not gender. Well, anyway, let's get back down here. Where are we at? The rumor appeared to be confirmed with Crines addressing the backlash in an interview with VGC. She said, yeah, that trailer. Well, people have the ability to voice their opinion with upvotes and downvotes. I guess they're all just nasty transphobes and istophobes and all this other stuff. Or they just don't care for the ideological nonsense in their entertainment, in their escapism. How about that? You think that's a thought? Bring back escapism. Take your real-world nonsense, take it somewhere else, or at the very least, when it comes to video games, focus on gameplay, story, and character development. Add the rest of the crap afterwards, but focus on gameplay, story, and characters first, above all else. The Moments is such a tiny slice of everything that we've been working on for years and years. We're excited for the game and for the IP. Good luck. You're going to need it. And for the game to be in people's hands. Oh, we're going to see the numbers this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. The IP to be in people's minds. You may be in for a rude awakening. She continued, I'm personally very excited for the IP for folks to delve into the Galactic Guide if that is something they choose to do. They won't. For the vignettes to come out on a weekly basis. Nobody's going. Oh. I am curious as how interested people will be with those. Because more than likely they will be shared, they will be recorded, they will be posted to the interwebs, and they will have upvotes and downvotes and views. I wonder which one's going to be the most popular. You'll start to fall in love with the depth of the characters. Again, you're making a 5v5 arena competitive shooter. Probably capture the flag stuff or escort missions and stuff like that. The depth of the characters. What is their loadout? What is their skill set? What is their role in the team? That is what players are going to be interested in. You're missing the forest for the trees. You're losing the plot. You are unable to read the room. Can I come up with more idioms? Idioms? Sayings. We'll go with sayings. It's easier. Oh my goodness. You'll start to fall in love with the depth of the characters. That's something that you learn week to week if you make it that long. Their personalities will unfold. Okay. Their relationships will unfold for you. The undecided, the they, them. Oh, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. Not going to. To each their own. If that's what you want to put in your game, be my guest. I don't think it fits in this genre of games. And you know what? I could be wrong. That's a possibility. But then the episode 8 of The Acolyte could be a banger, but, we all know that's not going to happen. None of that is something you can get in a tiny little slice of it. She's in for a rude awakening, isn't she? But that's a start, Crines added. There's something there, so I'm glad folks watched it. I'm glad they participated, and I can't wait for them to see more, to see everything there is. My goodness. Given these paltry numbers, again, we're not going to talk about the numbers on an early access, limited beta weekend. It's very disingenuous. You're coming at this with bad faith, and I don't like coming at arguments with bad faith. You report the news, you report the information, but you have to be upfront with absolutely everything. The numbers are low for multiple reasons. One of them is definitely a lack of interest. No denying that. But another one is because it's a limited release. It's a limited beta. When the open beta hits, and I'm gonna be talking about it, I will be doing a video on it after this weekend. I might even, what would be the optimum times to check the Steam chart numbers and where? Let me know in the chat. Let me know what y'all think about all this stuff. What would be the optimal times and time zones to check Steam database for numbers, and where does one go to find out how many people are on PlayStation and how many people are on Xbox? Please let me know in the chat. First of all, thank you for making it this far, because this is a long, chunky one. I got a lot to say about this. But let me know what you think in the chat. Are you looking forward to this game? Are you going to try it out on the open beta weekend? I've already deleted it off my PlayStation. I can't. I'm not even going to give this a shot. I can't. The characters look hideous. I don't need an old lady. Duchess! The Duchess. No, this is not for me. This game is definitely not for me, but who is it for? Let me know what you think in the chat. In the chat, I said it again. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTube is begging to do, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye. Where stop?